Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to session for XML and JSON. Today, you're looking at learning the basic, getting the basic understanding of what is an API, learning basics about JSON, XML, and I'm going to give you some hands-on example of converting data into JSON and XML, and we'll finish off with a homework for you all to do the same. But before we go forward, since we missed a couple of classes, let's go back and just assess to see what we have so far accomplished, and uh, and then we'll go from there. So let me go back to this page right here and just leave it here. Um, I know that our one of the assignment was to create a repository with TestRail and add test cases into the repository. So shout out and tell me what you have and if you had any blockers on the way, or any volunteer to demo what you have. Shobuz, were you able to uh, work on your
I
platform?
did the you mean the test trail one?
Yeah, the test rail.
Yeah, I did that. I'm not sure. They have the 15 days trial period. So if I still can log in or not, uh, I'm trying to log in.
Okay, let me know if you can log in.
Mm,
Yeah, I can't log into mine. My 15 thing is over, so I got to create a new one. You want me to go ahead and do that?
No,
Uh,
not at the moment.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I did everything the way that the steps had followed and the instructions,
Yeah,
but yeah, I didn't have any issues or blockers.
okay,
Yeah, that wasn't. It was pretty self-explanatory.
okay.
And then, yeah, I, I mean, I did send a simple test case. It wasn't too complicated.
Okay, great. Whatever you have, those test cases and the repository, this is going to come back around again when we're going to be automating the website. So you're going to see it again. I don't think you're going to lose anything by losing the account. What you need to do is write down the test cases somewhere, um, and leave it and save it. Either use a Word document or a notepad and save it somewhere for your own stash. And we're going to pull those back out again and create automation on those. So don't lose those. You're going to need those.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Let me see, adjust my screen a bit. So anyone has any questions about TestRail, creating repository, Gherkin?
Uh, Not really. I mean,
No.
just kind of getting used to that test rail, the way to use the user interface. But then, as far as Gherkin is concerned, at least for me, it was just more so just practicing.
Mhm.
And then once you kind of got the practice down, you kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think I pretty much have it as well.
okay, great. Then let's move on to the class that we had, that we didn't have actually last weekend, which I assigned you for watching those series of videos. And if I go back to that, that was in test automation engineering, and then web development, HTML. And here you had videos that you watched and hopefully created a website. Do I have a volunteer to demo what you have?
So me and you can go.
Yeah, Tony and I have ours prepared if you wanted to.
Yeah, that would be great. So let me, Haley,
You can do mine first if you want.
Sure, Haley, you're the presenter now, except when you're ready.
Okay. Right. So I'm just gonna open mine. So mine, I have my title page or header. I can't remember what it was called now, but yeah, I have it in my paragraphs, and then I have my unordered list, and then my ordered list typed out here, and then I have the table where like the one in bold is, you know, the header or the, can't remember what it's called, but then, you know, the sub ones. And then I like did the website link, which is to Pinterest, so you can click on it and it opens it up. And then, oh, actually, no, I just lost it. Okay, my bad. And then I did title and a picture, and then a text box for name, the comments text box with the submit button, question with the button yes or no, and then the check boxes that you can do. So yeah, that's what I did.
Very nice.
Thank
Can
you.
Can you right click on that page?
Right click.
Yes, right click on that page.
Oh, it's not letting me go backwards.
No, no.
Oh, wait, what? Show
On just the
me.
page here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, and then select inspect.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, cool.
So if you scroll up on that first window that popped up,
Right there.
notice all of those codes is what you actually wrote.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see that HTML at the very top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you had a head and the body.
Yes.
Body got expanded, and you can click on that triangular symbol to collapse it back in.
Got it.
You can
Okay.
expand that again.
Oops, hold on. Sorry.
Actually, just go ahead and click on the head. Let's expand the head.
Okay.
Awesome, correct.
Okay, and that's what you have on your HTML file, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have the title and then Haley's website as the title.
Or old t-shirt.
Then in the body, if you scroll down just to demo,
I sent you the number.
okay, see that UL right there.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and click, just one click on it. Now press Control Plus.
Okay. Sorry. Like that?
Uh-huh. One more time.
Okay.
See, it's getting larger.
That's bigger.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay. Also, if you hover over the middle part of those two windows, small windows on the right, you will see you would be able to expand this window. Yeah.
Oh, this right here?
No, bring your cursor down a bit.
Okay.
Keep bringing down slowly. Too far down. A little bit higher. Yeah, there you go. A little bit.
Right here?
Hello.
A little bit lower.
Oh, start.
Hello.
HTML?
See how the cursor changes?
Yes.
Bring it a little bit down.
Practice.
That's
It's
where,
still going?
yeah,
Okay.
right a little bit higher than styles. You'll see the cursor will take. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now pull this down.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Thank you. Sorry.
I can pull it all the way down.
Okay.
Okay. This, what you're looking at is the, it's called Chrome Developer Tool. Now, it does a lot more than you're going to learn from me. You as a developer, as a automation engineer, you're not going to need all that. But a web developer uses pretty much every function that's in here. There's a whole bunch of buttons here, tabs here. A lot of things happen. But one other thing you will need later on is on the top right corner, you're going to see there's 3 dots.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
those are called more vert icon. So click on it. And this on the first row, it says doc size. This is
Mhm.
an option to position this
Mhm.
this particular window. So yeah, that's the one I use, one on the left, all the way left.
Okay.
What'd you tell
And click on that again. There's the other one. Yeah, click on that. See that double screen? One screen.
Yeah, this one.
That's like if you split it out.
Oh, okay. Kind of like Notepad. It's just like a separate thing.
Yeah, now you just got that whole thing, whole code split it out.
Okay.
Also, if you copy paste the same thing that's here to another file,
Mhm.
you actually will get the same website. Okay.
Oh, really?
So it's very easy to copy from other people or other websites, and then a lot of engineers do this kinds of reverse engineering. Would
Mm.
think that, oh my God, they're genius and they know so much. Actually, they just copy from others, and they modify a few things and make it their own. Anyway, good job, Haley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you? What are some things you learned from this? What are some like key takeaway? Any enlightenment on this?
Oops. For me personally,
Hmm.
I just thought like doing it myself, especially the videos are really helpful just to kind of put like the fact that I just how to write HTML and like type it out and see it actually physically like show up and like my own design was a really like helpful to kind of understand it. I liked doing the work to kind of really show like how it works because I never really had dealt with HTML like at all before. So it was really neat to see like how all of it worked together, I guess.
Okay. Anything confusing? Any questions you have for me on this?
Oh no, not at all. I think we did pretty okay, right?
All right, great. Tony, did you do the same or different?
Same, like the website?
Like, did you all do it as a team or did you create a different
No,
web?
no, no, no. Yeah, no, I made my own website.
Okay, then looks like you just signed in. So can I make it the presenter?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so
Nice.
this is. Hold on, let me. Oop,
Here, look, you can make it smaller.
where's that?
You go to that way you can see.
How do I do that right here? Okay, I got it. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so this is my website that I made. I got same thing, my title, my header, just to kind of like, get to know your biography kind of thing. So I have the unordered list, the ordered list, then I added some text and paragraph form just to make it all go together and not just kind of random stuff.
Mhm.
I got a table and I've got different things in the table, a header for that table. Then I included the link to ESPN homepage and I renamed it ESPN homepage. Put in a picture of a dog, images. Then I've got a leave comments box, then a form to where you can fill out if you like these sports or not, and fill out your name and then click yes or no. So basically the same kind of stuff, just kind of made it my own, and same thing, just we watched the videos and as he was doing the videos, we created our own website. Did everything basically he was doing it, but we did it ourselves as well.
Yeah, we just like did it side by side,
Yeah,
kind
to
of.
get that hands-on experience. And so then when we went to go do the homework assignment, it wasn't that hard because
We had all the pieces.
all of the modules kind of build upon each other.
Yeah.
So it's by the time you got to the end, I was like, okay, put in a paragraph, put in a link. It's not that hard. You just gotta know some of those verbiage, some of those terms, or the elements. I'm sorry, but yeah, I liked it. the guy was very good, and I feel way more comfortable with this now.
I think it was actually kind of good because we did make errors to where we thought we did it like exactly right, and then when we like saved it and went to click on our site, we're like, oh no, that didn't work. So we had to go back and see, oh, we didn't do the certain thing in order. So it's just kind of cool to see that the trial and error of like if you don't do it exactly right, it wouldn't like work. So that was kind of good experience too.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
I got my code and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. And then physically creating it was kind of nice versus just looking at the thing and be like, oh, okay, I kind of understand. But then going in and then actually building it yourself, that's a whole nother thing. So
Yeah,
the experience is pretty good. I liked creating it.
Yeah, it's fun.
very nice. Very good to hear that. And you're going to see this experience come in so handy when you're actually going to be testing, automating websites, because you're going to be working a lot with the UI part, which is on the left side, and
Mhm.
and the inspect part, which is the right side,
Yeah.
the actual code. And now that you have created your own website, you know what the developers are doing. So it won't seem mysterious to you anymore. A lot of the times, you may be, if you're lucky, you may be able to find some uh, mistakes that the developer made in the code, in the HTML, and you may be able to point it out to them uh, that that they can fix. So this is a wonderful skill to have. Thanks, Tony.
Absolutely.
Any other volunteers? Shobus, Desmond, you wanna? Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm sure. I didn't do it very well, but let me share, okay?
Yeah, making you the presenter. And look, I'm not looking for format or how beautiful it looks. As long as you get your hands dirty with those code, that's all I'm looking for. And whatever you got is something is better than nothing.
Right. So I did that. There's a test page, and I do the link for the HTML lessons page, which goes to our lesson sites.
Okay.
So this one, and I also do I was trying to build a website for the ordering phone, but I didn't make time. So this is the iPhone. It takes me to the iPhone.
Okay.
And when it's the Samsung, it takes me to the Samsung icon. And I did the forms, like a contact us form.
Yeah.
So and I put the number only here.
Yeah.
So an address, city, and comments. Then submit button. I put the submit button.
Yeah.
So that's all I did.
Okay. There are other features that you have missed on, like table.
Yeah, right. I was. I'll do it later. I'll definitely do it. But
Yeah.
I understand the concept clearly, so it's interesting. So I don't have any question on that. Like I understand how it works.
Okay. Wonderful. Great. I do urge everybody to do every one of those elements, create them sooner or later, because later in the automation, you're going to see that we're going to be interacting with these elements. Particularly, you're going to see a concept called dynamic web table. And when we do that, you're going to need to have this basic understanding of the code, HTML code that goes behind table or creating a table. So you still have about a month and a half before I start Selenium, or maybe 2 months. So plenty of time. Do it again if you can, or create another site when you have time, and interact with those particular elements that I have prescribed in the homework, and make sure you have all those acceptance criteria there. That will cover the grounds that you are ready for some of the concepts that I'm going to cover. Okay, thanks, Shabuz. Good job.
Thank you.
And just going back to this, here's the homework part of it. So make sure that your homework touches these particular elements. So I have this acceptance criteria. So as long as your work or HTML file contains the form, the table, ordered list, unordered list, you're good to go. There is another one. I don't know if you watched the video or not. It's a drop-down list. Tony, were you able to do that one? There was a drop-down list.
Hold on one second. The drop-down list?
Yeah.
I did not get to the drop-down list. Was that in his that guy's videos?
I'm not sure. I
don't think we learned that one.
I don't think it was, but if it is, I can go back and maybe it's not on the ones that.
Or we can research how to do it.
Well,
but
if you have already done it, like watch all the videos and it's not there, then probably it's not there, and maybe I missed it.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it did go over it.
We can search ourselves and learn it on the side.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. And I can quickly show you today too. So that might.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was in the lesson. That's probably why we just skimmed over your list because we didn't see it in there. So sorry about that.
I see. No problem. Just checking. Desmond.
Yep.
Have you done any? Have you had a chance?
Yeah. I got it.
Make it the presenter.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
This is
color.
Yeah, this is the background that I choose, and my topics is fish world. Fish world is my the header, and my title is. I cannot see that. That's too many things. Either way. So I have some onward list over here, which is I put some fish name, and also the order list, which is showing 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that, I have a table which is showing me some fish and the varieties, their varieties.
Mm-hmm.
And also I have a link over here which is showing me the Yahoo link. I put the Yahoo link, so if I press it, it will take me to the Yahoo link.
Nice.
And also I have the form that first came on last time. That's all I got.
That's great. Look at the guys. Look at his body tag, and see how he did background equals blueocean.jpg. He took actually an existing picture to be his background, so that was really nice.
Oh yeah, that is pretty cool.
Did you by any chance learn this back home?
I had some, but not all of them.
I see. That's good. You do show some skillfulness here. So very good. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Folks, very good job. Goes to all of you. I didn't expect this much progress with just watching a bit of a video, whatever I posted there. So I'm pretty impressed. And give yourself a pat on the back, because what you showed me today, you are showing that you have potential, and the fact that with no computer skills, you're able to create a website just by watching videos, that's huge. So really impressed. Now, I was just playing around, so I do want to quickly show you how to do a drop down and then move on. So let's see. So you will notice that I have updated this slide somewhat, and this particular page is now a bit different, and it's much better. So what you have here is you have this PowerPoint that has been modified. Now there's more slides here. And if you want to quickly go to drop down, see this drop down list right here? You can open that. I don't want to do that. Scroll down to drop down list. It's going to take you to this site. I did add a couple more things in here that you can practice later. For drop down list, all you have to do is copy paste this part right here and add some values, which I'm going to show you right now. Another thing you will notice that down here you have notes and syntax. I don't know if you remember from the video that if you want to have just comment inside your HTML file, which is not going to be affected by what's going to be displayed, then you need to put this kind of symbol. Angle bracket, exclamation mark, and then dash dash, and then you have to finish off with dash dash angle bracket, which I have it all the way down here. Okay? And what you can do is you can actually copy this whole thing from all the way here till it finishes as your notes to start a website creation. So you copy that. I just copied Control C. And if I go to a notepad, and I can open up any notepad, which you can't see. Let me adjust just 1 second. And the screen, entire screen. And that's Notepad++. There's Notepad. I can paste it here. And you can use these as notes to copy paste and create your site. Okay. And you can start your HTML tag all the way from here. And none of these will be affected. None of this is going to mess up your code. Okay. So for example, you could just type in, make it a little bit larger. You could say HTML, the closing tag, HTML, and then there you have it. You can scroll up and go one by one. There's your HTML. You can just copy paste your head and the body. So if I take the head and place it here, and the body tag, and it goes step by step. And place the body tag here. Save the file as, let's go to this lesson 1, for example, .html and save, this file got saved that way as an HTML file. And I can go in here, and if I wanted a drop-down list, I could look for the drop-down list notes, and which is right here, drop-down list. And just copy this, paste it here. Okay, you will see two things happening. One is these select tags. Here's a select opening tag, and here's a select closing tag, and you have these options in between. Now, inside option, notice you have an option opening tag and option closing tag. Same thing, opening tag and closing tag. There's an attribute called value equals, and there's nothing there yet. You can have this particular attribute there, the same thing what you have as the value, dog and cat, or you can leave it blank, doesn't matter. Now, if you execute this code, then this is going to create that for you. So let me do this. If I now hit Control S for saving, and if I look into my file system and wherever I saved it, which is, I named it lesson 1, so there's lesson 1. If I double click open, opened up in all screen. If I zoom in, there's that drop down. And if I click, and I have those two options, and I can take any one of them. Any question about drop down?
If you,
I got it.
Sorry, I can go. If you didn't put anything in between the quotation marks and left that in the value, what would it look like? It would just not say anything.
This is what it's actually displaying, the dog,
Okay.
the cat. Now, if I leave this one blank, that's going to be a problem. But let's see if I take the dog out from here.
Yeah, I was meaning on the other side, like right after values, value equals.
Okay, so
If you leave that open or closed, it doesn't matter because you don't have anything. The value dog, you don't have it in your code, so it's not necessary, right?
right, it's not necessary. So right now,
Okay.
notice that I don't have anything in here, and I just saved it and refresh this page. It's still the same.
Yeah.
But let's say if I left it blank, then obviously that's not going to show up. The value is, it's for something else. Okay,
Yeah.
so save this, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell you too much about it because those are, developers do those things. But notice now I have a drop down, but because I don't have any text right here, I don't have any text here.
Okay, got it.
I just have cat right there. But you will notice that most websites don't have a value for the first one because they want you to be able to also have the option not to pick
nothing.
Yeah, pick nothing.
So the value equals open parentheses, whatever you have in there, that is only if it is necessary for the code for it to execute for this element, but
it's not also necessary. So let's
it's not.
No. Let's see
Okay,
if I
so
take this completely out and write dog, and if I save that and refresh, it still works.
So that's if you're equating that value to something else in the code?
No, what happens is this value part, even though I have it there, mainly I have it there because I want you to see that it's not going to be as simple as this when you actually open up. You're going to see a lot of other things, like let's say size equal something. You're going to see title equal something. And these are ways to hook this particular element with the server.
Okay.
So let's say if you choose dog, then there is some information in here that the server is going to grab that data and put it into their database. Now, how does the developer do that? That is out of the scope of this class.
Okay, got it.
And I'm not even gonna dare to teach you, and for the most part, I don't even know how.
Okay, yeah, now I'm just wondering what is the purpose of the values and stuff like that.
Yeah, that value is going to be something that's connected into another layer of code that the developer is going to do, so that whenever the user selects dog, can be communicated back into the server and the database.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't know for sure. So thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome. So just know that, and you need to know that's what the developers are going to do to to pass or transport data between your computer and the server through the internet. But for you to develop right now, you don't really need any of these. However, you notice that you can modify a tag or modify the behavior of a tag by actually having attributes with the opening tag. You also notice that we do not add attribute with the closing tag, meaning I'm now going to go in here and write value equals something. Closing tag will never have an attribute. Only opening tag has. For example, you have seen that this body tag, if I say BG color or background color, so here's my opening tag. Let me do this. There's my opening tag of the body. And here's my closing tag. Everything displayed between these two tags is going to get displayed on the left side or the website. Now I can change the behavior of the entire website or this body, by adding an attribute to this body.
Okay.
For example, I could say BG color, or short for background color, equals, and I can put in some preset colors. For example, sky blue. Okay, and if I save this now and refresh my page here, it's gonna turn that color. You're also gonna notice that I've added this extra slide into that presentation. Where is it? You're gonna notice that where it says HTML background color chart, and these colors here,
got it. Cool.
it's gonna have all those preset colors. And somebody decided on a name for these. And if you like these, you can use the name. There's a hex code that you can use that works as well. There's a decimal code. This, if you were to copy paste that works as well. Let's give it a shot. Let's say I like this color called tan. And if I take this D2B48C, so if I just type in exactly the way it is, hashtag D2B48C and save it and refresh, I have a tan color. Okay. What about,
You-
what if I don't like that. What if I want to change that to something like they don't have it in a preset?
Uh-huh.
You can do that too. If you go to Google and type in RBG color, that's also in my PowerPoint slide, so you can look that up. RBG color picker. And there's a whole bunch of these. I mean, you can use this particular one that Google recommended, or there's a whole lot of websites here. And let's say you want to pick somewhere in between this orange yellowish. You pull this over here, and you're like, I want to take exactly this particular shade right here. And you click right there, and there's your hex code right there. So if you copy that hex code, Control C copy, and if I paste it here, and if I save this file, go back to my website, refresh, and I have that exact color. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. One last thing, and then we can move on from this. It's called iframe, and I know that I didn't have a video there for that. So, but again, look at these notes right here. We have the iframe. Iframe is just basically a frame. You're gonna have a frame built into your site, which may display another website within that frame. How are we gonna do it? Just copy this. Bring it inside the body. Okay. And paste it. Notice something. Here's your opening tag. It didn't close here. It closed right here. And there's your closing tag. There's nothing to write here. You don't have to write anything. But look at this. Source equals another file HTML. That means if you have another web page created somewhere and you put that file name here, that whole iframe is going to become that. But let me just take this thing off and show you how it looks. If you just add this much code and hit save and refresh, do you see something?
Yeah, it's like a frame.
Like a frame right here. You can change the size of the frame by saying size maybe 0. Refresh, didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
How about the width? Saving by the width. That
Okay.
did something. It brought it down to a width size, maybe length or height. If I say height, width 100, height 60. Refresh, and there you have it. Okay. Now, what am I going to display here? If I want to display another website, I can. Maybe I have two different pages and I want to display another page right there in small format. What I have to do is type in src, meaning source, equals, double quote, I have to put another website file right here. Now that file has to be in the same folder, meaning here's my website that I'm displaying right now. It's called lesson 1. But if I wanted to display another website that I created called practice site, then I can take this one and paste it here, and I don't have to write anything else. I just take the file name and extension. How can I find the file name and extension? One is you could just say practice site.html. But if you're not sure, you can also right click and go to properties. And I know it might be very tiny font, but it's going to tell you that it is a .html file right there. I need to download the zoom in feature, which I'll do next time. Maybe I have it already. Let's see. Yeah. .html. So anyway, so if I type in here exact file name, which was practice site .html, make sure your spelling is correct, because that would matter. And if I save it, Control S for save, and refresh this page, and there you go. That website came in right here, which needs to be obviously adjusted. What I can do is make this larger and bring this down underneath that. So if I want to bring real quickly this frame below the drop down, then I can put a couple of breaks right here. You can put the break tag either by writing BR or /BR. Doesn't really matter. And you can copy this, multiple of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Save it. Now notice I got these 5 spaces or 7 lines or whatever. Probably don't need, just need 1. Save it. There you go, it came back up. I want to make this bigger. 100 doesn't display my stuff, so make that maybe 400, and this as 300. Save it, and there you go. There is my site within another site, okay, inside an iframe. And a question about the iframe?
No.
No.
Okay, great. In that case, let's move on. We're done with HTML. Let me cross this off. Don't need to save that. Here's another thing you can do for that HTML. I have some sample code here. Sample HTML code. This is what I was playing around with. You're welcome to copy this whole thing from HTML opening tag all the way to HTML closing tag and paste it in a notepad. Okay, and save it and open this up, and you will see something, and you can actually also start working from here to make your own. So if you wanted to copy that and use it, and this should have all of those features, like iframe has been created there. This may not work because you don't have the site.html file in your computer, so you're gonna have to change that. Some of the images that are there, you may need to modify to make it fully work, but it's there for you. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here for XML and JSON. Let me change the view. All right. So far what you learned is you created a website using something called HTML or hypertext markup language. Now, while you're interacting with this website, data goes from your website to the server wherever it's communicating, and you may get a response back from the server with some information. For example, when you click on a different tab, there's a call that goes into the server, and the server knows that you want a particular tab, and it's going to come back to you with that tab to display it to you. So you are constantly communicating with the server that Facebook, for example, has. How is that happening? Well, there is a code that you can't see that does that, and that's called API, or short for Application Programming Interface. More of that later on. But now, how does that do that? Well, it transports data. It takes your data. When you click on a button, you generate data, either a command or some kind of information. And information is data for computer world, and that data is packaged. It's packed into, let's say, an envelope, and there is a way that data is encapsulated in that envelope. And generally, uh, there's two formats that are pretty main formats. One is called JSON, and the other is called XML, which I'm going to show you. And that packet of data, either using JSON or XML, goes to the server, and also server comes back with similar with same type of format uh, of the packet, but data might be different, but the format is going to look like either JSON or XML into your website, and you see that. Okay. Now, there are some things in the back end as well. For example, database. From the server, when you ask for something, the server gets it, and server may have to communicate with the database. And database is the warehouse for all the data. For example, if you are purchasing something through Amazon, Amazon may already have saved your credit card information in the database. And when you click that buy button, Amazon will have that command will that information will go from your computer to the server, either using JSON or XML. And your server is going to tap into the database to get your credit card information, and then that data is going to come back to the server, and the server is going to process your transaction and send the information back to you saying, success, your credit card has been charged, or something. Now, the language that you need to learn of how the server communicates with the database, or how do we put data and get data back from the database, is called SQL. It's written SQL, but it's pronounced SQL. And some people will pronounce SQL, and they're really not very familiar with this, and that's why they would say it that way. So always refer this as SQL. Okay. Any question about this uh, overall flow? Now, I have a whole lot of classes on SQL to show you that, but today I just want to focus on JSON and XML and show you how the data is encapsulated here. Before we move forward, any questions here?
No, not so far.
Okay, I have a video here to show you in animation how this information is passed back and forth. So let's watch that.
Connectivity is an amazing thing. By now, we're all used to the instant connectivity that puts the world.
Hold on a second.
World at our fingertips,
There you
from
go.
desktops or devices. We can purchase, post, pin, and pick anything, anywhere. We are connected to the world and each other like never before. But how does it happen? How does data get from here to there? How do different devices and applications connect with each other to allow us to place an order, make a reservation, or book a flight with just a few taps or clicks? The unsung hero of our connected world is the Application Programming Interface, or API. It's the engine under the hood and is behind the scenes that we take for granted, but it's what makes possible all the interactivity we've come to expect and rely upon. But exactly what is an API? It's a question everyone asks. Okay, not really, but we're glad you did. The textbook definition goes something like this. In computer programming, an application programming interface, API, is a set of routines, protocols, and tools for building software. An API expresses a software component in terms of its operations, inputs, outputs, and underlying types. Okay, to speak plainly, an API is the messenger that takes requests and tells a system what you want to do, and then returns the response back to you. To give you a familiar example, think of an API as a waiter in a restaurant. Imagine you're sitting at the table with a menu of choices to order from, and the kitchen is the part of the system which will prepare your order. What's missing is the critical link to communicate your order to the kitchen and deliver your food back to your table. That's where the waiter, or API, comes in. The waiter is the messenger that takes your request or order and tells the system, in this case the kitchen, what to do, and then delivers the response back to you, in this case food. Now that we've whetted your appetite, let's apply this to a real API example. You are probably familiar with the process of searching for airline flights online. Just like at a restaurant, you have a menu of options to choose from, a drop-down menu in this case. You choose a departure city and date, a return city and date, cabin class, and other variables. In order to book your flight, you interact with the airline's website to access the airline's database to see if any seats are available on those dates and what the cost might be based on certain variables. But what if you're not using the airline's website, which has direct access to the information? What if you are using an online travel service that aggregates information from many different airlines? The travel service interacts with the airline's API. The API is the interface that, like your helpful waiter, can be asked by that online travel service to get information from the airline system over the internet to book seats, choose meal preferences, or baggage options. It also then takes the airline's response to your request and delivers it right back to the online travel service, which then shows it to you. So now you can see that it's APIs that make it possible for us all to use travel sites. The same goes for all interactions between applications, data, and devices. They all have APIs that allow computers to operate them, and that's what ultimately creates connectivity. So whenever you think of an API, just think of it as your waiter running back and forth between applications, databases, and devices to deliver data and create the connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. And whenever you think of creating an API, think MuleSoft.
Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, let me switch the view. Okay, I know it was very general and there's so much more goes into the API, but again, you're not going to be developing API, so you don't have to worry about that. You just need to know how things work in a very high level and be able to help out the developers if they have any questions and stuff. And I'll get to more on the API later, but today just gonna show how this API code will take data and encapsulate it into JSON and move it back and forth. Now, why do we need these data encapsulation? It's because we want to have a standard way of moving data from one computer to the other, from one um, operating system to the other. Different kind of platform, different programming languages should be able to communicate with the same type of data that I have. So these are two standards that are created. Let's take a look at the first one is XML, because you would be very familiar with XML, I think. So what is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Now, do you see there's a similarity between HTML? That HTML is hypertext markup language, and we have this XML, which is also an extensible markup language.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're actually kind of the same. The format is the same, and you don't have to learn anything new. You already know this, okay? Can you see my screen fine?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. And do you see it's written that designed to store and transport data?
Uh-huh.
Okay. My screen just showed that gave me a warning that my screen was paused. Anyway, so it is designed to store and transport data, and that's it. It doesn't do anything else. It's written in a way that if you read it, it's going to be very self-explanatory. A human can read it, a machine can read it as well, and multiple platforms understand this. For example, XML will be understood by Mac, by Windows, or Linux, or any other programming platform will understand this data. How does it look like? Well, this is how it looks like. Notice it's kind of the same as the HTML code that you played around with. You have the opening tag of note, and then you have the closing tag, and there's a opening tag to, and then from, heading, and body. What does this look like? Anybody want to take a guess?
It looks like HTML.
It does look like HTML, but if you
And
look
like
at
the body looks
data
like
format, so where do you think this data is coming from or going?
It's
um,
coming from Stove and goes to Jenny.
Yes. Can you tell me what software would be using this?
API.
What was that?
API.
API, yes, but where?
I think
From?
messenger, some kind of message.
Yes, your email, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, your email. This could be your subject line, and your when you send an email, your data, that data is encapsulated in XML like this, and that data travels through internet and goes to the server, and then server will do something to get it back to Jenny. Okay, um, or sorry, it's from Jenny to Tov. So that's how it's transporting data from there. So this to and from um, will be crunched inside the server side, and server will know exactly where to send this and where it came from. And there's some code there to do that. You also don't have to worry about that at all. But this is an example of that. Now, when data is transferring, it looks like this in the code, but you and I will be seeing this fancy way of presentation of the data, or our Gmail or Yahoo Mail that we have, however way we see it. So what's the difference then? What's the difference between XML and HTML? Well, HTML, you will notice that they have pre-selected tag name. In HTML, if you write note, that's not going to do anything. But if you write body, yeah, that's going to do something. In XML, although XML uses the same angle bracket system with opening and closing tag, XML can use any tag name you want. Basically, this tag name will depend on what kind of data you have. For example, this was a note that Jenny wrote to Tov, and it was coming out of some sort of a messenger, and therefore the programmer designed this data to encapsulate this way and then transport. They don't have to, they're not stuck with pre-selected tag names. And XML only carries data, but HTML is responsible for displaying data. HTML will pick up this data and break it down into a displayable presentation for us. HTML tags are predefined. XML tag can contain any tag names. Any questions about XML basics?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to then what is JSON. Okay. Now, JSON is the same thing as XML. It's designed to store and transport data, but it's a little bit less heavy like XML. You have to write a little less than what you have to write in XML. It stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Where it came from, I don't know, and don't worry about that. It's just a name. In the interview, they might just ask you, what does JSON stand for? And you do have to know that. Okay. Generally, they won't ask you to describe it, but if they do, here are some information that it is also self-descriptive and easier to understand than XML in some way. Some people disagree though, but it's the same, machine readable and also human readable. One thing about JSON is that it doesn't use angle brackets, and it uses data in name value pairs. So it displays like this: name colon John, for example, and it uses comma to separate data, a separation between data. It also uses curly braces, and these are called curly braces, in case you didn't know, and uses square brackets to hold a list of data. You will hear the word list, or you're going to hear the word array. Data is same as objects in here for now. I'm going to expand this word when you get to Java. And also you're going to see there will be a difference between list and array in Java. But for now, I just want you to kind of marinate these words in your mind before you hit Java. Okay? And these square brackets. But this class is going to help you tremendously in getting you ready for Java. But how is this data going to look like in JSON? Here it is. Take a look at this data. Instead of a opening tag and a closing tag, it has curly braces. It doesn't have an opening, a closing tag for employees. It just starts right here. And with the colon, and all these data here is encapsulated inside a square bracket. There's a system for it, which I'm going to write it off for you on the next, in the next couple of slides, and show you how to do it. And then you have this first name, John, notice is separated by comma, last name, Doe, and then those are encapsulated inside curly braces. And then that's again, put a comma there to separate another set of data and another right here. If I were to put this in a table, this is how it would look like. And let me take this out of here. So take a look at this. If I open up Excel, So looking at this, if I were to decode that, this would be a table called employees. And there's going to be two columns. One is for first name and the other is for last name. So I'm going to merge this cell and call it table. And a column is going to be first name. Next column is going to be last name. Okay. And this would be the data. So there's your name versus value pair right there. First name is John. And last name is Doe. Next set of data is Anna, and then Smith, and Peter, and Jones. With me so far?
Yes.
Okay. And this table name is called what? Employees. The name of the table is called employees, and this is the data. This data is being encapsulated in this JSON format and sent from your site, your website, to the server side. Okay. If I go back to the other one, which is right here, you saw that this wasn't something that can be put in the table, but it was being displayed, but still XML was able to capture this. JSON can do the same thing for this as well. Anyway, any questions about the basics of JSON?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I need to understand why we need and why and when we need to use XML or JSON. Because we use HTML for the building the websites, right?
Yeah.
But when and why and what are the examples where we need XML or JSON?
Sure. Good question. And I know I didn't stress enough on this. So let me go back to that HTML that we created. Let's say we'll go to this practice site.
I can give you just a heads up. Like I did some on Red Hat on the Ansible. We use JSON or even AWS. They support JSON for the building the development things. So, but I need to understand more from you.
Yes, and don't be alarmed if I am unable to give you all the details.
No, it's okay. I understand.
Because you guys know that I'm not. I don't know the answer to all, but I do know the answer to get to where you need to be to get started. Okay, and then if you want to take this farther, there's so much to learn. But your question is very fundamental, and I want to answer that. So what happens is we just created a site that doesn't really do anything. Have you noticed that? If I click on this yes button, does it do anything for me?
No.
Nothing. If I select dog or cat, does it do anything? Nothing. That's because this website that I created does not have that second layer of code for it to communicate this information selected on my page to a server or to a database to actually do something for me. Okay? All of this that I have is basically a static display. That's it. It doesn't do anything dynamic. But if I go to, for example, priceline.com, even though they have the same thing that I can design this with all that background and stuff, you and I will be able to do it. What you and I cannot do is there is something behind these boxes that if you select, and there is something powerful behind this called find your hotel. Okay, you see, and server is taking time to respond back. This is something you're gonna have to be a backend developer to do this. Now, I do not have the skills. I don't know how they do that, but what I know is when you are on this site right here and you put in this data, the backend developer, the front-end developer is going to develop something that would encapsulate this information into, let's say, JSON. How is that going to look like? It's going to look like this. So it's going to look like you got city. So it might start with hotel. You know, I was going to explain how to write JSON, but I'll do it right now as well. So here we go. To first write JSON, you have to start with curly braces. So always put in 2 curly braces. Okay. And go inside the curly brace and hit a couple of enter, because this is where your data is going to go. Okay. First thing you want to do is put in a common name, like a table. If it was a table of data, you want to put the table name right here. All information goes into double quote. So I put a double quote twice, and I would probably say hotel, because this is how you want to develop your backend software. Backend code needs to understand, oh, you wanted to find a hotel, not a flight. So you gotta give some sort of information on what is going out from this website. Okay, so I would say hotel. I'm just looking for a hotel. And then next is your actual data that's going to go out. Now you can have one set of data, you can have multiple sets of data. Each set of data has to go into a pair of curly braces. And if you have multiple sets of data or single set of data, you would have to put all that into square braces. For example, I could have a set of data here with a comma, another set of data with another comma, another set of data. Okay, these square braces will encapsulate that. Right now, I don't really need the square braces because I only have one set of data. But if you want to leave that square braces, it doesn't hurt. And you can go inside and put your data here. With me so far?
Yes.
Now, I would put an enter here. And I would place the data. I want to bring it here so it gets aligned nicely. And this is where the data is going to go. Then you're probably asking, what data I'm talking about? Well, this box is going to take the data. This box is going to take a date. And suppose I'm not going to have anything else. Let's say I'm going to say Dallas and take this and hit submit. Then your first data, you can write it here. You can write it here. It's up to you. Dallas. The rule is you put a colon, and then inside another set of double quotes, you put in, sorry, this would be where, and the actual data would be $20. If you have any more information, you have to put a comma. In our case, we do. It says check-in and check-out. So we might actually have two dates here. One is called check-in, and this is how they would actually design it, because there is two data here. You put a colon and double quote again, and inside you put in 9/23/2020. Let me move this here. And zoom out a little bit. Right. You got another set of data, and that is checkout date. And you have a colon and put the data here, 9/24/2020. Okay, no more comma, because that's the last part of it. If you had more, you would put a comma here and copy this whole thing and paste it here. It would look like this. And to make it look a little bit pretty, you can organize this. Now this is the data, Shobuz. When you book a flight, your website takes this data and through the internet goes to the Priceline server and comes back out with more data as JSON to display this particular page. Now, how does that data come in? What data comes in? It might just come in as a list of hotels. It could say Priceline, a Crown Plaza, and then have a price. Then it could have a Westin Dallas, and then a price. And can you imagine that? Can you also visualize how the JSON would be for that list of data? Give me some verbal feedback.
Yeah.
So in that case, it could be, let's say, hotel. Let me do this. It could be, when the data comes back, could be hotel. And that could be Westin. Price. How much is that? 63. $63. And anything else information here? Probably not. And you can just leave this particular. You understand that I'm just making it simpler. It's going to be much more complicated than what I'm showing you. With me on that?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
I got my question. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So this is the reason why you need to learn this, because you need to know how the data is going back and forth. Now, are you going to be working with this? Not so much, but yeah. Take a look at this. This is our framework where we're going to do, where we write our automated code. Now, I know the font is very tiny. You're not going to be able to see much. And I don't want you to panic by looking at it. But I am going to walk you to this level where you're going to be writing code in this kind of software. And you're going to be writing your automated test cases. But here's the folder we have. I just want you to look at on the very left here. In this folder, we have a lot of stuff and a lot of code. In particular, I want you to pay attention to this one that says input files. And in this input file, notice we have a folder called JSON. And in this folder, if I open it up, we have 3 different JSON files. meaning data is stored here in the format of JSON. Let's say I click on users.json. What is it? Look at it. Let me just pick one, very general. Let's say this one. Notice that it starts with customers. So obviously it tells you that these are the customer users that are going to be using the website that we're automating. Who are they? We gave it a name. And the name we gave is Russell Reynolds, or admin, general admin user. This is a demo user. What information do we have? We have username, password, first name, last name, and their account numbers. As a matter of fact, these are the real users, as a matter of fact, okay? And we have, we don't have their real password. We copied their data and changed their password to password 1. Everybody has password 1. And I can log in to their accounts using password 1 only in dev and staging environment, but not in production environment. Production environment, only their secret password works. And for privacy, I don't have access to that. But I can reset it. I just can't view it to see what that is. But this is the actual use of JSON in automation. In automation that I'm going to teach you, you're going to have to interact with this JSON format, or if you work for a different company, they may use XML format of data, and they may be able to store data and you use it. Take a look at this one, environments.json. Look at this. It's environment. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Let's see, S30. Okay, that's a little bit more. There's our environments, and here's dev environment. Under the dev environment, we have several applications. One is our basic masergy.com, and the URL goes isc.dev.masergy.com. If we go to test environment, which is the same as staging environment, if you remember my last class, one of the last classes, where there's a dev environment, there's a staging environment, and there's a production environment. For staging environment, we have our URL stored right here in JSON format. Why do we need it? Well, more of that is going to come when I teach you Selenium. But just a hint, this is where every automated test case is going to come to this file and look for which environment this automated test case needs to run. And our code, Java code, is going to be able to read this JSON and pick up exactly what we want. Okay, I know it's a mouthful right now, and I can't give you the gist of it, but baby steps. I'll walk you to that level where you would be able to use the code to pull data from a JSON file stored in the project. Shobus, have I answered the question?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Any other questions on why we need JSON or XML? Any questions in general?
No.
Okay. Let's just get our hands dirty and do some practice and forget about this messy stuff. Okay. So I have a couple of videos here. I want you to watch this. This is a bit of a history of JSON and XML. Also talks about which one is more useful than the other, or popular than the other. And then we're going to go in and practice something. I'll show you, and then you guys do it as a homework. So here we go.
So now that we've decided to go with a RESTful architecture for our development needs, what about the structure of our data? XML and JSON are two very viable options, so let's compare them side by side as well. XML was developed in 1997. It uses identifying tags similar to HTML and provides a rigid way of structuring data. JSON was developed in 2001 and is derived from the JavaScript language. Similar to HTML, it is easily human readable, but can be condensed with less characters to be very lightweight. Once again, it seems like these specs aren't really helping in making a decision if one is better than the other. But since our APIs are made to best suit the developer, we should use a data structure that is most friendly to our end user. Looking at this chart, we can see that XML started as the data structure of choice, but JSON has been quickly gaining ground year over year and is now the more popular data structure amongst new APIs. By piggybacking off the popularity of JavaScript, JSON has been readily accepted by the web development community as the most common way to structure data sent across RESTful APIs. So for this course, it's JSON for the win.
Okay. I have this video that you can watch later. There's more information about XML and JSON. Not really needed, but if you're curious. Here's our first table that we're going to convert this into XML, but we're going to take 5 minutes break, come back and do that. After that, we're going to convert a table into JSON, and then I'm going to leave you guys with the homework. Okay? Let's take 5 minutes break.
Okay.
Hey, is everybody back?
I am.
Yeah, we're back.
All right, awesome. I don't know if you're asking this or not, but I am asking myself. I mean, why in the world do we need to display or write data into XML and JSON format? Why can't the computer just read off this beautiful little table and do whatever it has to do? Well, sorry, Java doesn't read the way human would look at this particular table on this left side that you see. Java needs a specific instruction for it to be able to utilize data. Now, why do we need Java? Well, everything that we're going to be doing with automation, we have to use Java to do that. So we have to learn JSON or XML, or at least know how those how JSON and XML works. The very fundamental question is going to be like, do you know which one is JSON and which one is XML? So let me just go back in here. Let's take a look at this table here. We're going to take this table and convert it into JSON. So for this, I'm going to use Notepad. See that I use Notepad for pretty much everything. So there's my table. And here's Notepad. So let me bring my cursor in the center. So who remembers, what's the first thing I should start with in JSON? First symbol.
Curly.
The curly brackets.
Curly brackets or curly braces. So always put two. Always put in pair. About that, get yourself a wireless mouse, because you're going to be using mouse pad a lot. If you have a laptop, it's going to make you faster. You need to be faster. If you don't have a good desk where you can sit down and work, get yourself one good one before you hit the Selenium and Java class. Also, Logitech makes a pretty good keypad combo, because the laptop keyboard is horrible. So I always carry a keyboard with me. Let me show you which one. This is cheap and really good. Keyboard wireless. It's like $20 or something. Looks like this, and it comes with a tiny little USB connector that you can connect to, which is that one, in your laptop, and you could be using this keyboard and mouse, and you can also conceal this connector into your mouse. It works really well. I always carry it with me because I hate typing it on that keyboard on the computer. I can't even position my fingers, and I fat finger type a lot of keys and make a lot of mistakes. But anyway, do that if you can. Now, yeah, going back, for Java and automation, things are going to come in pairs. For example, curly braces are going to come in pairs. And go ahead and close your eyes and put those two in there. Go inside the curly braces. And once you're in there, now start with the very first thing, which is the table name. What's the table name here?
Employee.
Employee.
Employees, plural. So you
I said four.
put double quotes. Notice I put two of them. And I hit the back arrow on your laptop. You're going to see there are 4 arrows. Those are called navigation arrows. So I hit the back arrow to take my cursor inside those double quotes. And in here, I'm going to write down the name of the table, which is employees. Okay. Once I'm done with that, immediately, that's the rule, immediately after you write something, you have to put a colon. Okay. Any kind of word, you got to put a colon. Okay. Now what? I'm done with this first part, which is a table name. Now I have sets. Okay. Now I have set of data. I got a column header right here, and then I got this names right here. So I got to put it in some sort of a set. Okay, here's one set, which is first name James, last name Bond, age 55. I don't know if he's really 55 years old, but his salary 100,000. That's gonna be your salary for sure when you get the job. He probably makes millions. Anyway, so here I go in and I want to put a set of data right there. Who remembers what bracket do I need to put in?
Square.
Put a square bracket here. So
Square.
Put
The regular bracket.
Put square bracket. Notice this is called parentheses or regular brackets, bracket or parentheses. Yeah, I don't know if I'm spelling this correctly. Parentheses. And these two are called curly braces. And this one you can say square braces or square brackets. Okay, so curly and square. So you start off with the square, and that's where your sets of data is going to go. Now, set of data here is basically same as how many rows. Rows are the number of sets of data. So, Desmond, how many sets of data do we have here in this table?
Four.
Yes, there's 4 rows, but actual data, how many?
Three.
3, correct. So we got 3 actual data. That first row here is not real data, it's just a column header. So since I got 3 rows of data, I'm going to put 3 sets of open and close curly braces. Okay, there's one. What do I need to put in between 2 of these?
Semicolon.
Comma. Separated by comma. And keep your mics open if there's not a whole lot of background noise, so that you can immediately talk with me on this part. And there's another comma, and there's another set of data. Now this is the shell that you're gonna need, and data goes into these 3 different sets or list of data. Now I'm gonna go into the first one, hit an enter, maybe a couple of enters, and this is where I'm going to add my data. Maybe not too many. I'm just gonna bring it up here so you don't. It looks pretty. You gotta make it look pretty. Yeah. So here's my first set. Who wants to take a shot? What do I have to write here inside the quotation?
First name.
Correct. First name. And immediately after that, what do I need to put?
The first data point.
Check this out.
Hold on.
What symbol?
Hold on.
Colon. Yes.
Oh.
So you put a colon, and then again another data, which is in the double quote. What's going to go in there?
James.
The
James.
name.
Very good.
James.
Now, do I have any more?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, do you do all of them within the same? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
What would that be?
Last name.
Mm-hmm. Last name. And then there's going to be a colon.
Okay.
The actual
Bond.
name is Bond. Good. Hey, we got 1 here and 1 here. What do I need to do to separate these two so Java understand that they're two different things?
Comma.
Correct. You put a comma right here. Do I have any more data on that first set?
Yes.
Absolutely. I got age and salary. So I'm going to need two of these. Can I just
Comma.
copy this whole thing here and paste it down here?
You could, yes. Just change the data.
But this one doesn't have a comma here. So I got to put a comma.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I can change this part to age.
Yeah.
And this is 55.
Mm-hmm.
This part to salary.
Salary.
Uh-huh. And this is
100,000.
100,000. Okay. Am I done here?
Yes.
No, you have more.
Right. For one set of data, I'm done.
Yeah, but you're gonna do a separate set for Tony Stark and whatever.
Correct. You will notice that the example that I showed you in my existing automation framework, this bracket was actually up here.
Yes.
And this one was up there. This is up to you. Sometimes your framework will align it the way they want to, and you just write it. But if, let's say you missed a colon, that's going to break everything. Or a comma was missing, that's going to break everything. So your syntax has to be perfect. Next one got started like that. Okay. And because it's the same type of frame, you can copy this whole thing. Yeah. So just copy from this bracket start to this bracket end. Don't copy the bracket because you already have the bracket right here.
Yeah.
So I just copied that filler part, put it here. There I have it. All I have to do is change the actual data. Next person is what? Tony.
Tony. Then Stark for last name.
Yep.
Age 45.
Age 45.
Salary 85. Yep.
Salary 85. Good. One last one. Copy.
Then we have Jane Doe.
Yeah. So we'll just split it right here. I'm going to put an enter here. Hit a couple of tabs. Bring it up here. And copy this whole thing from here. Paste it in here. And I'm done. All I have to do is change this data. The next person is Jane Doe, 65 and 95,000. And there you have it. Any question?
No, but say you're using this and Java's trying to read a lot of data, a lot more than just a simple table. So you would have to go through and do this for, it would go on forever. Is there an easier way to do it? Or you have to really hold Java's hand when it's trying to read something?
There is an easier way to do it. You actually bring up some good questions. I didn't
because
show you this.
that's simple data and that took up this much. So say it's something like, when we're in the work environment, we're going to be doing code like that forever.
Yeah, there's one, but there are some times it doesn't work well.
Oh, okay.
But I'll show you one. It's called CSV file. Now I'm just learning this because I've never seen it before, and my boss just experimented with this and it started working. So here's another project that I'm going to load up here. And this particular project uses that. And it also has JSON files. Notice if you can see it better in your screen. There's this JSON. This is environments. This is Salesforce JSON. Look at this. It's in JSON format. but see how beautifully the angle brackets are organized? This the project itself does it for me. How? Look at real quickly, let me show you. Let's say if I mess this up here, watch this. Let's say I did it this way. And now if I press Alt Control L, and it automatically went into a beautiful setup.
Okay.
So when you have this software, this is called IDE. Again, I don't want to give out too much information now because there's a whole lesson on this IDE, what IDE is. But it will make your life much easier when you write code because it will organize it for you. It will tell you that you made a mistake. If I take this off and there's a problem, do you see there's a red squiggly line here?
Yeah.
And I click on it and highlight it, and it's telling me, notice that I missed something. It's telling me with a tooltip like this, is saying either a comma or a curly braces is missing. And you can check that and put it, and then that squiggly red line is going to go away. So all of that is coming your way. So no, don't panic there. Here's the file that you were talking
That's really good. You're not too good with syntax, but it really catches the errors for you and tells you what the error is, kind of.
Yes. And there's a whole art of learning that you need to do on reading those messages that are going to tell you where the mistake is, and be able to read and go into your mistake and fix it is another skill that you're also going to learn. Take a look at this test data folder. These are CSV file. And if I click open one, notice that this is, it doesn't have anything, any complication. I know you're probably looking at it like, oh, what is he talking about? This is complicated. but what it is basically, look at this. Path, username, status code, page, and name. This is how we wanted this data. So this is the path, meaning the URL, where that page is. Here's the username. And with the comma, we have username. Okay, it's kind of like a table. Notice that in a table, you have a line, but in this file, we don't have a line, we have a comma to separate it out. So the username is actually this guy, A. Terry. Now, we decided to put a curly braces, but I don't have to put it. But if I put it, whenever I have a Java code, I have to tell the Java code that look for these curly braces. But I don't have to with the CSV file. Okay, it's a little bit easier, right? But again, I just started using this, and we extract data from here. Here's the status code. Status code has to be 200. Page is called dashboard page. You've seen a dashboard page in text files. This is the same thing. And we gave it a name for it. It's called dashboard. Okay, these are the same things. All of this is nothing but first, all the way from beginning to this comma is the path. Then comes the username, status code then next. And then right after that comma goes to the page and then the name for that. Okay, questions about this?
No.
So if I just teach you CSV and you land into a company that has JSON and I didn't teach you JSON, that wouldn't be a good thing, would it? So
No.
I have to teach you the hardest things, most difficult stuff, so that you can survive in a company that you work for, because I don't know what to expect. Okay. You may or may not get the same technology that I'm teaching you, but most folks are looking for Java Selenium, so you're lucky on that regard. Questions about how to convert table into JSON format?
No.
All right. If I were to pretty this up, this is going to look like this. And if I were to ask you, Shobuz, can you tell me for employees dot employee with the square bracket 2 dot salary equals what? This is a pop quiz. You don't need to know the correct answer, but if you do figure it out, then that's something.
Yeah, I think it's for the Tony, 85K.
It will be 85K. That's correct answer. How? And that it's first started with employees table, and then the way. Yeah, you tell me. You explain this.
Yeah, that's the go with the employees table, then do the search for the employee. 2 is for the second one, and then it goes to the second one salary. So that's how it goes.
Yeah. So if you can read this and find out that this salary would have been 85 because employee is a 2, guys, you just soaked your feet in Java, because that's how Java works. And they use these dots to separate it out and figure out what the data is going to be. This is how the data is being read by Java. So you see how things are going to get pretty easier later down the road. Let's go and do this with, I'm sorry, I think I got the other one. That was the XML, but this was the JSON for that in a pretty way. And we're going to write the XML right now.
Is XML or JSON more commonly used?
JSON is more commonly used.
Okay.
And one of the reasons is the file, when you save the file, it takes less memory space, and that's why it's more efficient. So here's XML. If you have done HTML, then this is no big deal for you. And you know that you're going to have an opening and a closing. So you have to use this idea to encapsulate this data. So who can tell me what will be the first tag opening?
Employee.
Employees? I'm sorry.
Employees, correct. Employees. Well, if I have an employees opening tag, what do I need?
Employees closing tag.
Employees closing tag. They're exactly same. And this is where the go between those opening and closing tags. So you put a couple of enters and get it out of the way. Give yourself some space to work on here. All right. So here's the sandwich right here. The first slice of bread and then the other one, and the meat goes here. So now we have to separate this data and figure out how we're going to do this. Again, how many sets of data do we have? 3.
3.
And you have to encapsulate these into 3 other tags, but you have to be creative here, or the developer has to decide that, how do I put them in an opening and a closing tag for all these 3 sets? They might decide that, hey, why don't we just have something called employee as singular? Here's employee 1, and therefore we need a closing tag employee. Okay, and because we have three sets of data, let's have 3 of these. With me so far?
Yes.
Now, inside the first, I have these 4 things. One is first name. That means you're going to have a opening tag called first name and a closing tag called first name. Do you immediately see that I'm writing a lot?
Yeah.
And that's where the problem with XML is, and that's why JSON is more preferred, because
Expensive.
not writing all this rubbish stuff, there's very little actual data in here, but all the other stuff you have to write. So there's that first name. That goes James. There's no comma to separate it, because this closing tag actually closes that. And then we got a few more things in here. I'm just going to go ahead and paste it. There's 4 pieces of data. Last name, and that's Bond. Okay. Last name. More writings, more mistake to happen. Age.
Yeah, it's like double the writing, because in JSON you just put it in the parentheses. Oh, sorry, the what are they called? No, not the quote. The
double quote.
yeah, the double quotes, and then you can close it in with
Curly braces.
yeah, the braces, and then it's comma. But here you got to do the opening and closing tag, which is a lot of writing.
Yeah. There you go. This is all that extra writing right here. Yeah. And then copy paste.
Like all this new cloud things, they are using JSON.
Yeah. No wonder. And there you go. That. Let's go ahead and paste this for the next set. Here's the last set. I'm using tab to move this away from, so that they look pretty. This one got moved up. And all I have to do now is just fill in Tony, fill in the actual data. Start. Again, the developers use this in highly extensive way. You don't have to. But this is their bread and butter. Jane and Doe. Your homework does require you to do this with a different table. So I'm doing it for you. So it's a tedious work, but not difficult. And last thing here, salary is 95,000. Got it? Any question?
No.
And in a pretty format, it's gonna look like this. Now, for fun, there's a website called JSON Formatter, and this website will actually convert your XML into JSON and JSON into XML. I want you to look at it, but I don't want you to copy and make your life easy, because of, the homework. I want you to actually type it in. Don't convert it and paste it. So these images that you see here, one says JSON to XML, the XML to JSON. If you click on it, it's going to open up that website for you. For example, I have this XML here, and I want to see if I made a mistake or can I convert this into JSON. I'll click on this picture that says XML to JSON. So what happens if I click on it? It takes me to this site. And in here, I can copy my XML on the left side where it says input XML. If I paste it here, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There you go, I pasted. Immediately, it might be picking up some issues. Do you see these X marks right here?
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it. Either I copied bad or I wrote it.
There's a salary, but you didn't put the salary, the first one.
No, I think you need to do the lowercase e. That's the uppercase e. Employee.
This one?
Yeah, the
closing.
Oh,
with the
yeah, look at that. I gotta put a matching. Oh, look, that X went away. See that? This was a lowercase e, and it picked up on error right away. This X mark is telling me something. What does it say? Employee does not match the current start name, which is capital employee.
Oh, that's pretty good. Tells you everything.
So fixing that, let's go ahead and fix this. And this is what you need to do to fix yours until you get a complete correct ones and no X marks here. So this one, same case, this employee E doesn't match with this one. Now I can have lowercase e here as long as I have lowercase e there. And that should be okay, as long as they match. Again, this one doesn't match with this one, so let's match that. And problem solved, but why is this sticking out here? It doesn't look good. There you go. Even though it didn't look good, it didn't find any issues. Once you resolve the issues, and now you click on XML to JSON, and you have your JSON right here. It has converted the data for you in JSON format. Question?
Nope.
no.
Do you see something weird here? Look at this square bracket there. Shouldn't that square bracket end right here?
Yeah.
Why didn't it end right there but end here?
Because that was associated with with that employee.
Notice that
Yeah, why did it do that?
these are aligned. These two are perfectly aligned to each other, but this one is not. This entry is not aligned to this. That means I made a mistake. Can you catch the mistake I made?
And the employee that you use the lowercase, that text separate.
Correct. So notice that this employee here is uppercase, but lowercase,
Okay.
and then uppercase.
So confused it.
So he got confused thinking maybe this is not part of that same set. So if I change that to an uppercase here and an uppercase there, and then now I say XML to JSON, let's see if that got fixed. How does that look?
Yeah, it's not fit.
It's now got fixed. You can do the same thing. I could take this JSON and go into the other site, which is this one, JSON to XML, and click here and paste it in here. Oops, that's too small. Paste it in here. There. No errors. But if I were to miss this, I don't know why it's not telling me it's an error. It should. You can paste yours and see. And then click on JSON to XML. This is already there, but JSON to XML. And there I have my converted to XML. Developers use this site very extensively, and sometimes they need to switch between JSON and XML with different servers. with different companies, you understand that Priceline doesn't just talk with Priceline's server, but Priceline could be talking with many servers. For example, Kayak, this website, I don't know if you've seen it before, but if I look for Houston and a hotel room, this website is going to, through API, is going to ping a lot of websites. It's going to ping booking.com, hotels.com, expedia.com. And Kayak's server is interconnected with all of these other company servers. And they have APIs that Kayak's server is talking to and getting this data out of and displaying it to you. So what if booking.com uses XML versus hotels.com uses JSON? Well, Kayak's developer will have to deal with both of them. We'll have to write a code to read both XML and JSON no matter what they get, how they get the data, and be able to display all of these. You can only imagine how complicated, how sophisticated this logic can be for assimilating this data and displaying. I mean, sometimes I just, I'm like in awe what these engineers do to get this done. But they also make over $200,000. So these guys are super genius. Good thing, as an automation tester, you don't have to go into that much of a complication, but you still get paid handsomely, is my opinion. But anyway, any questions about these two sites? All right, folks, this is your homework before we end the class today. It's on the very last slide. The table is provided here. You have to convert this into XML. So I need to see XML data. I need to see JSON data. You are gonna post this into the homework that I'm going to give you in your automation class in Google. So when you go to Google, I didn't post it yet, but it's gonna be there shortly. You're gonna click on Classroom. Where is it? Right there. What you can do is pull this classroom all the way up. You can drag and pull. It's not wanting to do it right now. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm displaying this. Okay, anyway, just click on the classroom and no, that's not the classroom I want. Notice I'm logged into my company Google. So I'm gonna log out of this and go into my Google, this account. And Tony, this is what you probably did to correct your site. So click there, and now I'm in the right Google account, and I have a different setup where my classroom is on the right here. If I click open, there's the automation engineering class that you're gonna see. Go to this classwork, and in this classwork, you're going to see a title, just like this HTML, test planning and development. You're gonna see another title at the very top, which is right above this. It's going to say JSON, XML and JSON. And you're gonna see something like this. It's gonna say either homework or something. You click on it and you can open it up if there's any file, but I don't think I'm gonna have a file. But what you're gonna have is something. View assignment. I'm looking at it from the teacher perspective, so yours is gonna look different. Okay. You're gonna be able to actually add your notes into either a Google Doc or a PowerPoint slide or an Excel file. You choose whatever you want to, and just post your assignment and submit so I can see it. Do text me letting me know that you have submitted so I can just pop in and check. This is going to be due Sunday. Our next class is Sunday. Let's have our class at 9 o'clock. The topic that I have for you is command line, which is this right here. There's not much information yet, but I'm working on it to make it easier and simpler for you. And as soon as you're done with this, we're going to go into database management. This is where SQL is going to start. That might take several weekends, and then we're going to jump into Java, and after that, we'll do Selenium. Any questions before we end the class?
Nope.
No.
All right.
No. No.
Sunday, 9 o'clock, fine, or?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. All right, wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for attending this late night session.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.